How's it going, chimps? My name is Monkey and welcome to Contractors Exfil Zone. Today I have a very special video. I have had an idea for a very long time of a series I want to start on this channel, and that is going to be called Weapon Face-Off, where I will put two weapons into the ring to go head-to-head in a gauntlet that I have created of different, very scientific, very great, very obviously fantastic opinions and ideas, statistics and math and knowledge and facts and reasoning to find out which weapon is the best, because obviously, as you guys know, I am a man that will tell you right now that a weapon is far better than another weapon, another weapon, and you should throw that one in the trash can and never use it, because this one is so much better. Why would you ever even touch that one? I hope you guys obviously see the sarcasm in that, because I will tell you right now before I start this series that I have always been somebody who will tell you to use what you like. In the end, I do believe there are weapons that can be better than others, but I also believe that any weapon in the right hands is better than any other weapon in the wrong hands. Anyways, we are going to start today's series off with two phenomenal starting weapons. I'm going to pair these up against each other because they're both level 2 weapons, two different types of weapons, two different types of ammo. I think those are two great weapons to pair up against each other to showcase this series. Okay, so to explain how I will pair these weapons up against each other and how I will grade them both, I will show you guys right now. So I have a list. I'm going to be grading all of these weapons of 5 categories, all ranked 1 through 100 to give us the best statistics and numbers. I'm going to use my best knowledge and reasoning to grade every single one of these weapons. Understand that I am not perfect. I am not the most knowledgeable person in this game, but I do feel like I have quite a lot of knowledge. I do think my reasoning and logic is pretty sound, so I think we will be able to come to a very good conclusion here. If you guys have a disagreement, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Anyways, starting at the top of the chart in order, we have mod ability. That is going to be the weapon's ability to take different attachments like suppressors, muzzles, rails, sights, grips, lasers, all those good stuff. Grade that from 1 to 100. Then we have stats. That is going to be the weapon's raw stats, the horizontal recoil, the vertical recoil, our RPM, ergonomics, firing power, etc., etc. I'm going to be grading the stats from when they are base, completely empty, no mods at all on them, to what I believe to be the best setup, which, for consistency's sake, we are going to be using the Schlipnir suppressor. I'm using a suppressor over a muzzle because that is more common, and in my opinion they're a little bit better, because if you can have the suppression and deal with a little bit more recoil, then that is totally worth it. And then we'll have the FPO optic with an L Evo. Again, more common, more of what people use out in the field. That's also what I like. Again, remember, it is for consistency's sake. Does not have to be exactly what you use. It will still give us good representation of weapon versus weapon. And then, obviously, we're going to be using the PK1B25U grip. That is the best grip in the game. I don't think there's going to be any arguments there. And then we are also going to be using the base magazine. Number 3 on our grading list is going to be the ammunition. That is not only going to be the ammunition that you get when you unlock said weapon, like for example with the M4A1-CQBR, it'll be showcasing the ammunition that you unlock at level 2, because this is a level 2 weapon, but also the overall best ammunition that this weapon can load itself with. We will put both of those into consideration when we do the grading. Next, after ammunition, we're going to do price to performance. This is all based off of the price of the weapon alone, not the mags, not the ammunition, just the weapon. And then it'll be my personal opinion on its price to performance after we've looked at mods, stats, and ammunition. And then at the very end, it'll be my personal opinion on the weapon. The 5th grading score will just be my overall overview on the weapon, how it feels and how it felt in the field, and also how it looks on paper. And at the very end of all of these grades, we will grab all of them, add them all up, and take the average from all the 1 to 100s. And we will see what our overall is. Whichever weapon has the highest overall will be the winner of today's matchup. Now, I hope that makes a lot of sense to you guys. It makes a lot of sense to me. I am very excited. This is something that I've wanted to do for a while, and I think the grading system that I have set up is pretty great. Now remember, this is just the first video, so there's going to be flaws. There's going to be issues. That is just how I am, and that's who I am. So we're going to iron out the kinks in this series as we move along. So if you guys have anything you want to let me know in the comments, please do. I greatly appreciate it. Anyways, I think all the talk helps, but what is better than all the talk is the do. So let's jump into these weapons. First and foremost, we're going to start with the AKMN-G by 39 assault rifle. This is what I believe to be the best AK that you unlock at level 2 versus the best M4A1, M4AR, any kind of thing you unlock at level 2 as well. So for these tests, I'm simply going to start with the gameplay. I am going to begin the face-off of the AK-74MN blah 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 versus the M4A1-CQBR by doing a performance test. I'm just going to jump into the game with what I believe to be the best attachments, and then we will go over all the stats and the yapping jargon stuff in the end really quickly. Before we do that, again, I'm going to be loaded up with the best attachments and stuff that I can put them on. Now, in the future, when I'm doing this not so late in raid and I don't have all the greatest attachments and everything, remember that the attachments, when I'm doing the performance, I am taking into consideration if they were the best ones in the entire game. So I could do this with just this, I mean, I guess just that and a red dot, and I will still take into consideration how the weapon felt if I did have the best attachments on it. And then the same with ammunition. We're going to be loaded up with the best that I have available so that it is fair. But again, remember guys, I am taking it all into consideration with my gameplay, how I am grading it in my head, so that we can be as fair as possible. First, let's jump into some fun, sick gameplay of us absolutely murdering people with these two weapons. Okay, yeah, one other thing to remember is I am using the best armor in the game because it is late wipe. So biggest thing to keep in mind is that we are going to be using the same armor every single time to keep consistency's sake. More important than anything here. There was a player in there. Oh boy, I had 2 grease guns going. And apples. So many apples. Psycho.
Hello, don't be ridiculous.
Dang it, that scav just gave me away. He's in there in med bay somewhere. I'd rather he expose himself first. What was that play? Screw it. Vitals. Painkiller. Oh my gosh. Oh, what a psychopath. I shouldn't be alive if I didn't have this crazy armor. Oh my gosh.
You have no idea what is going on, do you? I've got to get out of here!
Got it. Hey, look at that. Glad I checked. Uh-oh. I am very glad I checked. Only one of the best keys in the entire game. Don't mind if I do. Game case sitting outside the vault. What could be in the vault? Golden chalice. Alright, well, let's get out of here.
Wait.
You gonna throw another? Didn't think so. Pretty sure I heard a... Yep, I knew I heard it. Friend? No friend. Oh man, I'm lucky he missed. I'm very lucky he missed. What was he using? Rips? Yeah, that could have ruined it. Holy crap. Dang. This is the guy that was going nuts with his RPMs. Spraying a freaking crazy gun. Oh, he's got a good backpack too, heck yeah. With another crazy good gun. Okay. Oh, and he got some great armor too. Okay, here's the plan. First we take care of this guy. This guy's movement's getting annoying. What is this guy on? Nice. On a really good gun with nothing else. What the hell? Okay, I think it's already about time we get out of here. So we're just gonna get this situated and get out of here. Okay, can somebody please tell me why this guy had that many grenades? 2 of every single one of those syringes. All of those. Like, holy crap. This guy was way more kitted than he should have been. Also, why was that guy running just this mod with nothing else? Just armor. That was a really weird kit too. Alright, well, those runs with this AK almost went so well that I'm scared to go with the M4 because I don't know if I can top those matches. Those are like phenomenal. So we're gonna go in with the M4 CQBR. I am gonna load myself up with some of these mags, especially since I got a bunch off of the dude. Anyways, yeah. Same kit, same gear, same everything, just new weapon. Let's get that going. He was not expecting me to be over here. Gimme. Flame 12, that's scary. Lots of nades. And he came prepared with ammo. Thanks for the nades, I forgot to bring a bunch.
Greetings!
Oh, you psychopath. Why you gotta be standing right there?
Alright, chimps, as you guys can obviously tell, my voice sounds a little bit different. That is because my microphone died. So I'm just gonna do a voiceover because this gameplay was pretty good. That was a good kill right there. Thought he was gonna kill me, but I killed him way faster than I thought I was going to. Anyways, let's see. Oh, here's another one. Here, another one. Where is he? There he is. Light him up, light him up. And those 2 shots that killed him went through that wall. That's crazy. Alright, heal up our reload. Oh my gosh, there's another one. Where is he? Boom! Right to the dome. OP helmet ain't stopping nothing. Those eyeballs. Ooh, let's see what we got there. I got a lion statue. Pretty good. Is that a data storage? Please be a data storage. Oh, it's a data storage. Phenomenal key. What does this guy have right here? Oh, ooh, doc. The office? The office? What? Chineo storage key. Alright, that's pretty sweet. Not the office one. What? Of course it's not gonna work. Oh well, still extremely high value. Lots of good loot out of that. Alright, now those were some good gameplay. Let's go completely re-record the very long yap sesh of the statistics because my microphone was dead. And I love this, man. I am already so far behind and losing so much sleep. Now let's go do some more work. Alright, chimps, that was some great gameplay. Now let's go re-record the statistics. Man, this is a great lesson to learn on making sure that your microphone is charged. Anyways, you don't care. Let's get right into it. I'm going to start by grading the AK-74MN-G by all of the stats that I had before. I will go through and show those really quickly so you guys can see them again, so that there is no confusion on the grading. So let's start at the very top, and that is mod ability. Now, with the AK-74MN, your mod ability is actually not terrible, but it's not great. We have suppressors and muzzles on the top, the accessibility for larger mags, optics on the rail, no extra rails, no lasers, no lights, no changing the foregrips. So my grading for this weapon is on mod ability is a 75 because yes, it is great being able to have the magazines. That is a huge part about it, and then the optics and the muzzles. But with no grips, no lights, no lasers, that is a huge downside. The biggest one for me is the grips because the built-in foregrip does not really help with the statistics very much on its own. So that is a 75 on mod ability. Now let's jump over to the next one, which is stats. So at base, we have an RPM of 600, ergonomics of 50.44 loaded up with the regular mag, vertical recoil of 109, caliber 760x39, firing power good, horizontal recoil 120. Fully kitted to its best ability from what we were talking about at the very beginning with the optics, lasers, lights, all that kind of stuff. We have RPM, caliber, and firing power stay the same. Ergonomics drops to 22, vertical recoil at 97, horizontal recoil 107. So base stats, the vertical and horizontal recoil being in the 109 and 120 being very high is a huge downside for this weapon, but who runs these weapons not kitted? Now, even with the best attachments that you can put on this gun, your vertical recoil being in the high 90s and the horizontal being in the low 100s is still a huge hit. Now, granted with 760x39, this weapon is much better for longer range, but with that RPM being lower and the caliber, you're definitely going to be wanting to use this weapon at longer ranges. So in overall grading, I'm going to give this weapon statistics a 64 out of 100, just because the only things that are like decent saving grace for this weapon are the caliber and the firing power. Everything else is really not that great and really subpar for this weapon. So with a 64 stats, let's move on to the third grading system, and that is the ammunition.
All right, starting with the round that you unlock with this weapon, which is level 2 regiment, you got the 7.62x39 FMJ. That is a 2.6 penetration power with the base damage of 62, muzzle velocity is 770 milliseconds, and blunt damage 3.1, armor damage penetration 13.64, bleed chance 25%, armor damage blunts at 9.92. Honestly, not a bad round at all, especially at level 2. This round does really well. It has good range, decent penetration power, but nothing crazy. You're not going to be hunting people down with the great armor. But at level 2, when wipe happens, when you're fighting everybody else who's at lower levels with lower level armor, definitely going to be a decent round. Next, I'm going to talk about BP, because BP is what you can purchase when you get the maximum level. It's not a trade-in. 4.5 penetration, blunt damage 4.6, armor damage penetration 34, base damage 57, muzzle velocity 730 meters a second, bleed chance is 25, armor damage blunt is 28.39. This round is phenomenal, and the biggest thing about this round is just the penetration power being so high with the base damage still being at 57. You'll find that most rounds in this same like level and tier rating are going to be the same about penetration power, but with a lot lower base damage. So this weapon having a high base damage with this round is phenomenal. But you got to remember, the weapons that are firing 7.62x39 are a lot slower fire rate than a lot of the other weapons. So that kind of brings this round down by a little bit, but we are grading the ammunition right now. We're not worrying about other things. So now we have 7.62x39 AP, 5.8 penetration power, blunt damage is 4.16, armor damage penetration 50, base damage 52, muzzle velocity 875 meters a second, bleed chance 25%, armor damage blunt 42.64. Same goes for this round. Most ultimate rounds APs for like 5.56 and 5.45, you have the same penetration and all the other stats with armor, but the base damage is so much lower on those other rounds. This round having 52 base damage is phenomenal. So I'm going to give the ammunition on the AK-74, the 7.62x39, I'm going to give that ammunition a grading of 94. I really like the ammunition for this round, but you got to remember the weapons that they're firing out of are a lot slower. That does not take away from the fact that the ammunition is phenomenal. Okay, now we're going to talk about price to performance overall. This grading is a little bit lower on the list because it takes a little bit more of my opinion into the grade. So I wanted to go through the raw numbers first. So $31,000 for this rifle is honestly a great price for what its use case is. Now I did a lot of Metro. Understand that I did that a lot because it was later. So the only rounds I could find were people who were playing Metro, and it literally took me more than 10 minutes to find a match on Suburbs, and I didn't even find one. So that's why I did a lot of Metro. But again, I am still taking that into account that this weapon is definitely a more mid to long range weapon. Definitely something you're on to tap fire at for the ranges. So for that, $31,000, even with the stats and all those things and the firing power being good, the firing power and the caliber are the two saving graces for this weapon. Like I said, everything else is pretty low and not very high performing. So I'm going to give this weapon a price to performance of 79 out of 100, because again, that price is great, but there's just too many things holding this weapon back from being anything higher than that. So my overall personal opinion on the AK-74MN-G is a 75 out of 100 grade, but I feel like 3/4 of the way to 100 is pretty good grading, because again, you can put some great attachments, and once you do have this gun set up pretty well, it's going to handle those longer ranges really well because of the caliber and the type of round. You're going to want to tap fire a lot of that stuff. But when you do start fully auto, I like having a weapon that I can fully auto very comfortably, because a lot of the time, even if you're in longer range maps, even if you're up close, obviously you want to have good recoil, but sometimes you want to spray people from far away. You really can't do that. It doesn't feel very great with this weapon, so that is why I give it a 75 out of 100 overall. All right, now we're going to move on to the grading for the M4A1-CQBR, starting with mod ability. So the mod ability of this weapon is phenomenal. You literally can put any single attachment you want, every single muzzle, every single grip, light, and a laser. You got 60 round drums, multiple types of 60 round drums. You could put 2 optics on. You could maybe squeeze 3. I don't know why you'd ever use more than 2. I would only use 2, and then if you really wanted to, you go with 1 optic. Anyways, this weapon is phenomenal. Really, the only reason why you could get better with mod ability for any weapon in this entire game is either A, if your side rails were longer, you have a little bit more extra room on said rails to move those along the way, or if you had something like the M4A1 mod, you literally, not only can you put rails all over this weapon, you can put them where you want them on this weapon. So that is the only reason why you could get better with mod ability on a weapon in this entire game. So for that fact, I am still going to give this weapon a very high 94 because like I said, you want more ammunition, you got more ammunition. You want grips, you got grips. You want lights, lasers, you got lights, lasers. You want muzzles, you got those. You got suppressors, optics. Doesn't get a whole lot better than this. It does, but that is why I'm giving this a 94 out of 100. Phenomenal mod ability on this weapon. Now let's move into the stats. At base, we have an RPM of 800, 74 ergonomics with the base mag, 102 vertical recoil, 112 horizontal. Caliber is 5.56 by 45. Firing power is good. Now, if we have this weapon fully kitted with our rules, we have an RPM of 800, ergonomics of 40, vertical recoil of 77, horizontal recoil of 77, firing power of good, and caliber 5.56. Obviously the same things. Now, biggest thing about this weapon and what makes it so great is with the mods that you can put on this gun, you can make these stats so much better than what they were. Let's start with the stats that you can't change: RPM, caliber, and firing power. RPM being at 800, I would argue is one of, if not the best RPM you can have in the game, because it is plenty to be able to put enough lead into somebody that you're going to kill them really fast. But it's also not so many that you're going to just unload your mag way too quick and all of a sudden you're out of ammunition. It's kind of that good, perfect middle ground in my opinion. Caliber being 5.56, we'll go over ammunition here in a minute. Firing power being good, that is huge. Having at least something above subpar or fair firing power is really important. But the one knock on this weapon is its base stats are not that great. Having your vertical and horizontal recoil in the hundreds, it makes it really hard for those stats to come down by a lot more. But the ergonomics are great. So in the end, because of your RPM, caliber, firing power being so good and being able to bring those stats down, I am still going to give this weapon a 80 out of 100 for stats, because it, again, those static stats you can't change are great. Those are the most important ones in my opinion, and being able to bring those horizontal and vertical recoil down by a lot and still having good ergonomics is great. Obviously, there's much better options when it comes to those stats, but you can still have great ones. So I think 80 is a great spot to put this weapon. Really good, but has a lot of room for improvement. Now let's move on to ammunition. Starting with the round that you unlock with this weapon, which is level 2 at ARC. You have the 5.56 by 45 MK318s. That is an epic round. 3.6 penetration power, 2.6 blunt damage, armor damage penetration is at 19.34, base damage is 52, muzzle velocity 880 meters per second. Bleed chance is 20%, and armor damage blunt is 13.94. This round is phenomenal at level 2. The fact that you can get this round at level 2 is crazy to me, because this round, firing out of most 5.56 weapons, which are all like 800 RPM and higher, is just great, because you're going to shred straight through a lot of the people, especially if you hit early wipe level 2. Not a whole lot of people are going to be running armor better than 3.6, but even if you find them, you're going to be able to put them down pretty quickly because the fire rate of the weapon, and it can just handle so many things. Base damage is good all around, just a great round. Now let's move on to M995s. This is the best round that you can purchase without a trade-in. Penetration power is 4.6, blunt damage is 3.76, armor damage penetration is 27.07, base damage is 47, muzzle velocity 980 meters a second, bleed chance is 20%, and armor damage blunt is 33.6. M995s, if you guys know me, is my favorite round in the entire game. Yes, it is very expensive. Yes, it is an end game round, but again, our penetration power for an ultimate round is not very high compared to others, but you're firing out of a weapon that's firing so fast that you make up for that downside, and the base damage being 47 is also really nice. I really enjoy M995s. I think that they do a phenomenal job, but again, they're very expensive and they are an end game round, so it's not like you're going to be using these very early on, and you're going to have a lot of money to be able to buy a bunch of them, especially if you're using 60-round drums. Now let's move on to AP. 5.8 penetration power, blunt damage is 3.1, armor damage penetration is 38.61, base damage is 39, muzzle velocity 1010 meters a second, bleed chance is 20%, and armor damage blunt is 35.29. Phenomenal. Obviously, I mean, it's AP, it's the trade-in, it's the best of the best you can get for 5.56. Base damage being 39 means you have to hit your headshots. As you can see, your head is 35, so that's going to be enough to one tap, but your chest is 85, so you're gonna have to pump a couple rounds to get somebody in the chest. This round is a high ceiling kind of round, very expensive, but if you hit your headshots, you're gonna just absolutely shred anybody wearing any types of armor. So in the end, when you take into consideration the weapons that are firing these rounds, I'm going to give 5.56 firing out of the CQBR a 90 out of 100, because it's hard to get a whole lot better than this. You have great rounds at a great price, at a great level. You have great rounds that obviously are high end, but the fact you can purchase an ultimate round is just phenomenal. And obviously the ultimate, the best of the best, is always going to be great. But again, remember, you are firing it out of an 800 RPM weapon. This makes it so that it shreds through people like butter. So that is why I'm giving it such a high grading at 90, because it really is hard to get a whole lot better than this. Okay, now we're going to talk about the price to performance of the M4A1-CQBR. This weapon I might be a little biased when it comes to this weapon, but $34,000 for a level 2 M4 that you can put every single attachment, extended mags, a phenomenal round, and you can bring the stats down by so much. It has good firing power. It really, in my opinion, does not get better than this for $34,000. I am absolutely in love with this gun, especially at low levels with the round that you unlock this weapon with. Like, it just really, like I said, it really does not get any better than the price to performance for the M4A1-CQBR. I might be a little bit biased. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys think I am. And if you agree with me, let me know in the comments. If you agree with me, type M4 great BR. Phenomenal. So I'm giving this weapon a 95 out of 100 for price to performance, $34,000 for a weapon that performs at and very close to the level of an epic weapon like the M4 mod. I mean, come on, does not get any better than that. Again, if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments. I might be a little biased, but I don't think I am. I think the stats and everything speaks for itself. Anyways, let's move on. All right, now this is the stat that's probably going to annoy some of you guys, but that is totally okay in my opinion, because like I said, these are my opinions, but I think my logic and reasoning is pretty good. My personal opinion, the last stat on this weapon, is a very high number. I'm going to give it a 99 out of 100. Like I said, after going through everything, mod ability, ammunition, statistics, and you take into account the price, all of the downsides of this weapon are made up for by how cheap it is. So I'm going to give this weapon a 99 because I think it seriously is just such a phenomenal deal. I wouldn't be surprised if they nerfed this weapon by making it either more expensive or a level 3 weapon, because it just really is a great gun. It has like 0 recoil when you're firing at people. When you have good attachments, you can do so much to it. It's just overall a extremely high performing weapon for a very low price. All right, chimps, the first ever weapon face-off. We have our AK-74MN, our M4A1 mod. I wanted to do these two weapons, not because I thought it was fair, completely honest with you guys, but mostly because level 2 AK, level 2 AR. Let's compare them. And the overall for the AK-74MN-G is 77.4. Obviously, a lot of room for improvement. Room for better mods, better stats. That's pretty much the two things that are really holding this weapon down. The statistics, the recoil, and the lack of mods. That is the biggest things for me. But again, 77.6 sounds low, but it's still a great gun. It's still a great option for the level. If you like AKs, you like the 7.62x39, you like the range, great weapon for the overall price and the performance. Now, obviously, I think it goes without saying, you guys know the math before I do the math. The overall for the M4A1-CQBR is 91.6. Price, phenomenal. Performance, phenomenal. Stats are the downside, made up for the fact that you can put any mod, and that brings things so far down. And the stats being lower, the price also just makes up for that. This weapon, I don't think it gets a whole lot better than this for the price and taking everything. Obviously, it's not my favorite gun. If price isn't a thing, it's not the first gun I'm gonna pick. But when you factor that into it, it makes it so much sweeter of a deal. So obviously, for the first ever weapon face-off, I have the M4A1-CQBR coming out on top. This weapon is great. Hopefully, if you are looking for weapons, these videos can help you find a weapon to pick whenever you're running this game. I will do some more videos on stuff like that. But if you guys want to see more weapon face-offs, I would absolutely love to keep doing them. I'm probably going to keep doing them. And I would like you guys to pick the next face-off. So if you have a weapon face-off idea in the comments, literally pin any weapon up against each other. You could pin a handgun up against a rifle. It does not matter, because in the end, the best weapon will come out on top. Trust me, there are some handguns that will outperform full-on rifles. I promise you that. So if you have an idea of a face-off that you want to see, put a comment down below. If you see a comment down below that you like, or the same idea that you had, like that comment, because I'm going to be picking the top commented face-off to be the next video. So let's see down below what you guys want. I would love to do it. Anyways, if you guys have any comments, questions, any disagreements, let me know in the comments down below. As always, take care of yourself, take care of your family, love on your family, and you are awesome.